The author of Chicken Soup for the Soul, Mark Victohansen, is with us. Over 500 million copies of that book sold and read worldwide, pushing now towards 600 million copies. And as proud as he is of that and grateful to God as he is for that, I think he's especially proud these days of his newest work. It's called The Miracles in You. There you see it, Mark Victohansen. The subtitle, which I love, Recognizing God's Amazing Work in You and Through You. We're delighted to have back at 100 Huntley Street, Mark Victohansen.
Thank you, thank you.
It's so good to see what you're saying in this book. We've had some conversations when you talk about believe the miracle, that all of us have the ability to recognize and become miracles in many ways. But then you say beyond believing in that miracle, you need to see that miracle. This is visioneering, I'm guessing. Vision is what you see. So how do you see that miracle? How do you go after that and make it true in your life?
I think what happens is you've got to implode it, first of all, and believe that you can have it and say, hey, look, God, I'll do whatever it takes, and please give me a miracle. And we're talking about seeing the miracle. A lady is walking through Target. She's got no husband, 3 kids, and trying to drag them through, and the book keeps falling out at her, falling out at her, falling out at her. She's like, okay, I give up, I quit. Her name's Deborah Sada Shaw. She's become a great friend because of this. Picks up the book, reads it, is in the umbrella business, working in a sweatshop as a Hispanic in L.A., and that night she goes home and reads it, and then the next night she's saying, Mark says, hey, wait a second, all I got to do is ask myself a question, a little improvement can make a big improvement, have an innovation. And he says there's a miracle innovation in everyone. There's a miracle invention. There's a miracle book. There's a miracle song, whatever your right livelihood is. And everyone's got some right livelihood. God's given all of us abundant talents.
Right? That's a miracle.
Right, and it is a miracle.
Yeah.
And you know, even down at Harvard, they say there's 8 forms of genius. And unfortunately, our school system locks in on you need literature and math. Not that it's bad, but you'd have to say that guys like David Foster, who did the whole music for Titanic, is a miracle. Anyhow, so she says, okay, I got a miracle. Dragging her kids up the stairs, she trips and falls. Now, she's in the umbrella business, and she wrecks her legs and is bleeding and says, Mark says, problems are opportunities in disguise. There's a miracle in here somewhere, and I'm going to get through it, because everybody out there has got some problem going on, right? If you don't have any problems, you're not alive. We learned at NASA long ago. She said, that's it. I wouldn't have fallen if I had an umbrella. You know, I got to carry the kids. I got an umbrella. Why don't I put a light in the umbrella? Well, the umbrella sells so well, she sells the concept to Walmart for $306 million. So she's going from absolute poverty to absolute financial abundance. I've got permission to tell her story. And she said, look, it was a miracle. All you did is say the question. I am a gadfly. I'm here. And we got questions throughout the book because the questions are a miracle. What is the miracle that you want? What is the miracle that you're going to accept? What's the miracle you're going to give yourself permission and acceptance? And she said, I went for the miracle of innovation. I thought maybe I could, the umbrella hasn't been changed since it was invented in 1700. It needed a light. And now that you know it, you didn't even know an umbrella could have a light, did you? And I'm not beating on you, but
no.
Now you know you're going to go to the A store and buy one that's lit.
Sales are going to go up after this television program.
Right. And it's because of one person that had a problem. So, you know, you're going to have problems. So you say, what's the benefit God's given me in this problem? Because he didn't give you a problem without giving you the mind power, I think, to solve it.
All right,
for you and everyone else.
All right, so for you, let's talk about see the miracle for you. You believe, now see. When you were younger,
right.
You developed a belief that miracles were possible and that you could be a participant and a recipient of miracles.
Right.
So now you have that as a foundation. What have you seen, or what did you see? And we could talk about what you see in the future, but let's talk about you in your life. See the miracle. Where are you on that journey? What's your story?
Well, my story was, you know, I had great parents. I went to a university. I almost failed out of the university first quarter because I partied hardy. And then all of a sudden they said, do you really want to stay here? And I said, yes, please let me stay. And then our university hired every great and inspiring guy that got fired at 65. Now, it's hard for people out there that there's no ageism, there's no sexism, there's no racism. Well, that existed 40 years ago. If you were at Harvard, Wharton, you got fired. Our president, Dr. Dwight Morris, was so brilliant. He hired all these smart guys, and they're all working at NASA at the time.
Yeah.
So I was going to be a doctor of physiology, and my grades are really good. And he says, you got to go hear the smartest guy on the planet. And I remember that my parents were illiterate immigrants, and I wanted to grow up and do well and become a PhD someday. But I never had he said, look, the head of physiology is like Gray's Anatomy is Richardson's physiology. He said, the smartest guy on the planet who works with me at NASA is Dr. R. Buckminster Fuller, 15 doctorates, 2,000 major inventions, all this stuff. And we're going to go hear him. You're going to change the rest of your schedule today. And I went, and Bucky said, we're going to talk about cosmogony, cosmology, epistemology. And he even wrote a book called No More Secondhand God. You and I are supposed to go first line to God. And I thought, I'm listening to this guy and I'm going, he's short, but boy, is he bright. And I thought, oh, and then I begged to work for him. I traveled with him for 7 years. That's a miracle. I mean, he had no right. I had no right with limited education and wanting to be a research assistant, which I was. And he taught me, he said, hey, look, there's one world, and for the first time, the Earth's not flat. We got to figure out, how do we make the planet work for 100% of humanity? And he kept saying, Christ is the first guy that said in John 10:10, I've come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. There's enough for everyone if we use the technology, if we use the God-given wisdom for the first time. And historically, you know, we've been petty. We're operating out of a 5,000 or 6,000 year old fabric of lack of morality, lack of ethics, and I'm going to take it for me and you're not going to get any. Look, there's more than enough. We can have enough water, enough food, enough energy, enough abundant sustenance, enough education because of electronics. Just it is. We're in the most. It's the best or worst at times. We've got some real serious problems, but we also can make it the best. And I'm here trying to cause miracles for everybody that's watching. I'm hoping it'll rain miracles on everybody that watches our show today.
We do pray that. We pray that for sure. The fact that you years earlier had been in sharing a room with four other guys, or sharing an apartment with four other guys, dead broke, having to drive a busted up Volkswagen where the windshield wipers didn't work, to take you to a meeting where a guy was speaking, to go from being under that very good person to later being and sitting in a room underneath the brilliance of one of the great minds of our day. That's a miracle journey, Mark.
By the way, let's talk about the miracle journey. I meet with this guy, Chip Collins. Later on, I write a book called The Miracle of Tithing, even. And I say there's 4 parts to giving, which this show loves. Is first of all, you got to give your thinking. Then you got to give your time. Then you got to give your talent. Then your treasures. And Chip, he told me a story that first time, and it fits here. He said he's broke. He'd been the top salesman at Kodak, and he listened to the speaker, and the speaker inspired him at the depth of his being. And Chip was ambidextrous, meaning he could write with both hands. So he wrote notes what the guy said with his right hand, with the left hand. He said, I would write this better and better and better. So I can go out and I can you know the guy who saw the guy who's ambidextrous, I give my right arm to do that. Yeah, right, joke. Anyhow, so Chip all of a sudden decides to be this great speaker, and nobody wants him. And he was calling on little real estate offices in Long Island, and he's broke, and he's got 2 kids, and he loves Donna, and he loves the church. And so he goes into the church, and he's praying. He said, oh, come on, God, all I got is 38 cents. If that's it, look, I'll give it to you, but I can't even buy milk for my little kids at home. And they were like 2 and 4 at the time. And as he's walking out, a guy says, aren't you Chip Collins? He said, guilty. He said, well, you came into my office and I didn't hire you the other day, but here's a check for $400. I don't know about you, but I got goosebumps all over my legs and my arms. In Chicken Soup Land, we think God bumps, goosebumps, chili bumps are corroboration at church. Truth. The truth, and it'll set you free. And it set Chip free. I mean, he went home dancing. He bought milk. He bought food. He took Donna out to dinner with the kids. And, you know, he's from zero to hero.
Miracle.
It is a miracle, and that's why I'm sharing it, because, you know, Chip inspired. We used to beat on our chest together. We'd meet every Friday, and that's what I think you need. You got to have a miracle buddy, a miracle partner, miracle masterminder, where 2 come together and they form a third new miracle mind that is bigger than them individually, like what you did with Dr. Maxwell in the past. I mean, you guys built an enormous empire, and what Jack and I have done, you know, we've sold more product than anybody in books and other stuff. Like, we're the biggest dog food right now. Chicken Soup is sold dog food, which is non-GMO and organic. Just, you know, it's fun to do this.
So talk to speak to our audience. What do you see for them? Because they're watching that, and you know, we have people from every walk of life, various ages and stages of life and demographics and financial situations, and some are watching tonight in a hotel room where they have a job interview tomorrow. Some are watching in their living rooms or dens this morning where they are facing some type of great challenge in their lives. Some are just getting ready to go see the doctor to get that lab report that they're so worried about. What do you see for them as it relates to miracles? How can they take these kinds of things you're sharing and put handles on them for where they are on the journey.
Perfect. So there's health miracles for the last one. There's a job miracle for everybody. There's an ideal job for everyone out there. I believe right now we are not lacking jobs in North America. We're lacking job skills. And today, everybody can get those skills online, and for the most part. Now, obviously, you can't be a neurosurgeon,
sure,
like our friend Dr. Ben Carson. But you got to go and decide to belly up, and you can use Salon Keen stuff, you can use Wei Ming stuff, you can use my stuff. There's lots of stuff out there, and almost everything is free, and it'll wake you up. But you got to say, we got to pray to God and say, okay, God, I'm ready for my miracle job. What is it? And tell me where it is, and find me that person that I get to sit with. Let's just do the health story we have in here.
Please.
Lady decides she wants to give away her, she reads there's 89,000 people that need a kidney transplant, and she doesn't think she can, tries to give it away, finally goes to a Bible study for her first time. Lady sitting next to her in a Bible study had a husband that was like number 89,000 on the list and needed it, and said, look, I've been wanting to give a kidney because I really want to give something that matters. You want a kidney. Let's put it together. And sure enough, she was a perfect fit for him.
Wow.
And what I ask all the audience to do is that once you open up giving, you open up receiving. It's like, I say giving is like water. Water that's frozen is hard. That means you don't give it. It's solid. It's and you guys know about solid ice.
Well, that's what you do.
You can ice skate it out of the water.
That's right.
Number two is that when it warms up, it starts to move around a little bit. It's what we call ambient. But when you have one drop of water in your bathroom in the mirror, it fills the whole room. Now that's what God does with giving. It opens it up. So this lady gave her kidney. And what I'm saying is, hey, look, if you got nothing to give a smile, give friendship. If you want to, I think everybody ought to write on their will that they're going to give several things. I think you've got to give your blood, because I've been the spokesperson for the Red Cross. And the Red Cross is a good organization, in my experience, worldwide.
Yes, it is.
It helps when I was in Vietnam. It helps everywhere. Next, give away your body parts. Assuming you're okay with that. I mean, I don't know how that, if it violates somebody's religious belief, don't do it. But I mean, I want somebody to have my corneas if they're still working. I mean, I take 58 herbs and vitamins a day. Yeah, be an organ donor and give it out, because somebody needs what you've got, and they're deserving and are going to do a good job. And look, Steve Jobs, he had 5 major inventions that changed the world. Yeah, and the point is, if somebody could have given him a pancreas, wouldn't it be nice if he was still here to do 10
That's a great
inventions?
Thought. That's a great thought. A lot of great thoughts in this book. It's called The Miracles in You. Call us and get it. Thousands of you have called us so far this month, and we anticipate thousands more to call. Please call. If the line's busy, call again or leave a voicemail message. We'll call you back to get your order. Your financial contribution to 100 Huntley Street to help us continue to bring people like Mark Victohansen to our program matter, and as an expression of our thanks and appreciation and our desire that you have miracles taking place in your life and that you're aware of it. That's a way of us saying thank you. So please, the number's on the screen. We hope that you'll call us. It's just wonderful. Mark Victohansen, if I can only just get him a little bit more excited about life. I know we're going to have to find some decaf for both of us. This is so much fun.
Hi, I'm Peter Guber, and this is Winning Voices. In my career in movies, television, sports, new media, entrepreneurism, and academia, I've had the opportunity to meet the best and the brightest, the leaders in all those fields. And what I found they all had in common was their ability to tell a purposeful story to win. I want to share those voices with you so that you can tell to win. My guest today, Mark Victohansen, is one of the most successful authors in the world, having sold through Chicken Soup for the Soul over 110 million copies. And what did he do to get there? Failure, failure, failure. He had to overcome enormous failure to create that success. All the rejection of all the publishers who said to him, no, 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 it won't work. But he stayed with it. And how did he do it? He told a purposeful story, finally finding that one person who believed in him. And then he turned that magic into great success. Listen to his story, learn from his story, how you can tell purposeful stories for your success. You've obviously been told no many times in your life. Many times. Okay. So what story do you have that makes you be dyslexic, turn no into on, that makes you say, I know I hear you, but you're not understanding my proposition?
Since I was 9 years old, I've had a white-hot, burning desire inside that I go linearly for what I want. I become a megalomaniac. And in Chicken Soup, we got turned down 144 times. Everyone else said, my partner, Dr. Jack Canfield, said, hit the road, Jack. And I knew that Chicken Soup was going to be the world's best-selling series because I'd written it. And I teach that whatever you want and you put in writing and you visualize and fervently desire, you're going to realize or manifest.
But you got that signal.
At
you
9
got that
years
story
old.
somewhere. What was the story at 9 years old that burned in your psyche that now you turned it around and paid it forward?
I saw that little racing bicycles like Lance Armstrong rides. I wanted one. He said, you can have it if you earn it. Never thinking I could earn equivalently $4,000 in 6 months as a 9-year-old. I became the world's best greeting card salesman. I don't think I ever told you that, but I sold more greeting cards than anybody else in America.
And so when you see someone in your business life that tells you no, or you can't do it, do you reframe your offering in terms of a story? Do you reframe your initiative, or do you just fire bullet points of facts and information?
No, story is always it, because I figure if there's a detour, I'm going to go over, under, around, or through it, because I'm writing the story. Right. I am the author of my life. Nobody else has that privilege. Nobody, under any circumstance, ever. And every one of us writes his or her own story. And if you told me no about something, I'd say, well, that was interesting, but Peter just didn't understand the offer yet.
But truthfully, the real mastery you have, when you absolutely, positively have to get something done.
I get it done like that.
And you got to get in the room face to face and breathe the same air, pressing the flesh, looking him in the eye. Is that a big game changer?
Face to face, eyeball to eyeball, wallet to wallet is the way I believe it's got to be.
And is that, where did you get that understanding? Was it through your experience, obviously?
As a little kid, 9 years old, I just went house to sell, and nobody believed that I could have that geographical outsweep as a little kid. I was just fearless because I knew what my end game was because I wanted to tell to win.
Great, great. You know, can the passion to tell a story be learned or at least improved, or is it something that only a few people were lucky enough to have God put it in?
Everyone has an intrinsic, and most people get it pushed down starting at 5 years old. At 5 years old, any kid can tell a story. And what happens is then the wonderful school system we have that says you'll do it this way, we stifle it out. And, you know, it's like we teach in our Chicken Soup books. Every kid laughs 50 times a day, and every adult laughs 2 or 3 times a day. And we've had it beaten out of us. And stories are a great way. Humor stories are one of the things that I'm the best at.
You did a book with Art Linkletter, who was a master storyteller.
Oh, the best.
And was able to embed in those stories the real lessons. What is the magic of story that when somebody's rendered a story with the information inside, what do they do with that story? Why is the story so powerful?
Well, he got little kids to tell a story that were the most irascible kids. He says to little kids, what animal do you want to be? And the kid says, I want to be an octopus. And the kid was 5. And every other kid wanted to be a lion, tiger, dog, cat. He says, why? He says, well, I'm little and they beat me up at school, so on Monday when I go back, I'm going to beat them up with my testicles. and the point is, Art never got bleeped because the little kid didn't do it out of any malice or any profanity. He didn't know the difference between the words.
So now you need testicles to tell your story, because if you don't have them, you won't tell a good story. So one more thing that intrigues me.
That'd mean only men can tell stories, and that's simply not true.
Well,
women are great raconteurs.
Yeah, well, they're emotional creatures. They're actually more emotional than men, and stories are emotional transportation. They move people. They move their heart before their wallet. So
well, that's the whole thing when you say that we have 7 points of telling a good story, but the first one is it's got to cause instantaneous emotional change. Do you have to be in business, Peter, to tell to win?
When you want to move another person to your cause of action, through your call to action, the power of the oral narrative, the ability to tell your story in the room face to face, is the secret sauce. It is the game changer. It doesn't mean you have to be a great storyteller, but you have to emotionalize your offering. But you know, as a practitioner of that you can ignite that, you can kindle that very easily if you understand that people do want to be moved emotionally.
Peter, can anyone use the stories and tell to win to personally become more successful, dynamic, and achieve infinite good in their lives?
I really believe that. You know, this is not a panacea. It's not going to make you into John Grisham or Jack Welch, but what it will do is it'll take 10 strokes off your game. If you're a golfer, think if you could take 10 strokes off your game. So you have more joy and less surrender. And our ability to emotionalize our offering, to move people to action, is best served when you use the power of the tell. And I think that's what I believe.
Can anyone learn to tell to win if they read your book?
I think anyone can learn how to better tell to win. I learned in my business, hits are born here and flops are born here. So the idea is use that emotional transportation to move your audience to your call to action. And the major secret is, if you do it, they become apostles and advocates for you, and they own the story, and they tell it forward.
So how do you get somebody to believe that they can become dyslexic like you are and take no and turn it to on?
Well, I think you have to fail a few times. You have to really fall down, get banged down. I've had more failures, cataclysmic, often highly public, than a Will Ferrell movie. I mean, up and down and up and down. I've had hockey teams where the team couldn't score and the audience didn't give a puck. I've had movies like Bonfires of the Vanities where they tried to walk out even when it was shown on planes. So, I mean, I have had all kinds of failures. But what I learned was, from many stories that I experienced, from people like Muhammad Ali and other people that said, you're a failure if you don't get up. You learn your lesson, you use that as a tool, and then you move through it to the next thing. And if you can do that, and you have more success than failure, and more joy than pain, you'll have a wonderful life.
When you brought Ali into the butter and bread people in your office, and they're all smoking cigars and going, yeah, we don't need Muhammad Ali, what did Ali do to turn him around with his story?
When he got into the room, we didn't really want to do it. They all sat there like this, in body language like, who's he going to tell how to sell his movie? We haven't even made it. And he fired his bullet points, all the facts, all the figures, all the data, for about 3 or 4 minutes, and then he stopped. Dead silence. Everyone looked around. What's wrong? He said, get up. He made everybody get up, and he made everybody put their hands and say, I'm going to tell you a story about one of my greatest fights, the strategy, tactics I used to prepare for it. And he said, I want you to move your arms for 3 minutes, then you'll have a minute of rest, and we're going to go 10 rounds. Well, after the third or fourth round, their arms were like this. They didn't even have boxing gloves on. Their arms were like this. They were laughing, slugging away. He got in the face of everybody. He changed their complete physiology. And
It's a story. It's a physical story.
What he did was he actually engaged many of their senses. That's the secret to good telling of purposeful stories. He actually understood the audience. He told them a story. And he embedded in it the idea, one simple idea: prepare if you want to win. You better have tactics and strategy. You better prepare if you're going to win. They got it through that story. They got it so perfectly that they insisted that a photographer come in and take pictures with everybody. And he got it so perfectly that he signed all the pictures, and they put it in their office. And what do you think they did? They paid that story forward with everybody that came into that office. He was the heavyweight champion of storytelling.
You're with Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
You're with Sony still.
Yeah.
He says, I got to take you upstairs and show you
my bedroom.
A rat and a snake.
In my bedroom.
In his bedroom.
I said, how do you know he wanted to be in the movie side of the business? How do you know what drama is? He said, come upstairs to my bedroom. I'm going to show you muscles. And I got really nervous. You're going to show me his muscles? No, he was going to show me muscles. A giant terrarium up there with a snake in it. I said, yeah. He says, look in the corner. In the corner was a little white mouse, like trembling. I said, yeah. He said, you know what's going to happen to him? He says, yeah, he's going to be eaten. So, that's not the drama. He knows he's going to be eaten. He knows he's going to eat him. But we don't know how and when. And that's the drama of telling a good story. Wow, that just told me it all. I was teaching for years. It's a thriller, right? It's a thriller story. So anyways, thanks for joining me.
My joy.
Okay. Next time you face rejection, remember the story that Mark Victohansen told. And remember that it's just a speed bump rejection on the road to success.
Hi, I'm Mark Victohansen. You probably know me best as world's best-selling author of the co-creator of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, the 1 Minute Millionaire series, Richest Kids in America, and How to Make the Rest of Your Life the Best of Your Life with a great and inimitable Art Linkletter. I'm also a speaker who's talked to 5 million people in 4,000 audiences. But today, what I think I should talk to you about is entrepreneurship. That's where you take something that's little value and make it a monster value to the marketplace, to yourself, to the future, and then you create your fortune. Right now, what I'd like to do is take you through 5 different tips, one at a time, that'll take you from nowhere to somewhere great, and have your pocketbook grow and soar and expand, because when your thinking expands, your money expands, and I want to show you 5 specific ways on how to live in principle and make that happen for you. Here's one of my first money-making tips, and it comes from one of my students who I just worked for yesterday in Detroit. She has a wonderful new company called Repurpose, and what she's done is Detroit has 30% unemployment. The place looks like it's a war zone with broken out windows, but what she's done is she's gone into estates, and the average house has over $30,000 worth of stuff that they don't need anymore, whether it's furniture, whether it's kitchen tables, china, watches, rocking chairs. She has taken that and she's made a fortune. She's gone into a mall that was empty, filled it up, given a percentage to him, and she takes 30% of it, and she's money is clicking, and such that HGTV has just made a rocking show on repurpose your life, repurpose your fortune. And what I'm saying to you is that you got to repurpose yourself right now. All of us got to constantly be reinvented. Once you've repackaged yourself, now what you got to do is put it in writing. What is your business plan? What's your game plan? What's your thought plan? What is the impress that you want to make on universe? Because I say don't think it, ink it, delegate it to document. And very specifically, one of my friends, Kevin Small, who is 6'8" and in his 30s, says he spent 3 days writing out his business plan, and then somebody gave him $10 million just for his business plan. Can a business plan be done? You can go online and find out how to do a business plan. If you've never written one, it's time to write one. They're easier. Today, it is fill in the blanks. And if you fill in the blanks of what your heart's desire is, it's going to have you go higher and higher and higher. You've repurposed yourself, you've written it down, and now what you got to do is decide that you're going to make money today. Today, not tomorrow, not next week, not sometime somewhere else, but today. Dr. Muhammad Yunus says everyone can make money today. You don't need one more piece of education. You don't have to go back to school. He takes the women that are the poorest of the poor in Bangladesh. He believes everyone has a fundamental right to credit. Same thing I do, and that's why we have the Mega Value debit card. But everybody can have credit. You could have it today, and then you can start your business and start it rocking. I'm 16 years old. I watch the Beatles on TV. I called my next buddy, Gary Youngberg, another little Scandinavian kid. We started the rock group that day. In 2 weeks, we were making $17 an hour as professional musicians. I never played an instrument. I didn't know anything. I just decided in favor of myself. You decide and prescribe your future. If you've repurposed yourself, you've reinvented yourself, you've rewritten it, and you decide to take ACTION action, and you keep repeating the word 50 times a day, do it now, and then go do it. You've got a fortune waiting in your thought escrow. We've talked about repurposing your life. We've talked about writing it down. We've talked about taking immediate action. But one of the actions you got to take is you got to get a team to get your dream. There is some person probably senior to you that owns all the resources that you need. And if you go inside your inner knower, you cannot ask yourself a question without having the answer. It is really critical that you understand that. I wrote a whole book called The Aladdin Factor, how to ask for and get every good thing you want. But the bottom line is that you were born over-endowed with 18 billion brain cells. It knows the answer. It knows the person that is closer to you than you even think. And when you get that person, he or she has the resources, they have the talent, they have the connection, they have the money. What they don't have is your energy. What they don't have is your burning desire. And if you bring burning desire added to their energy and their tool capability with your skill set, you become a no-limit, unlimited, fully functioning, self-actualizing. That means you take action person. When I started the speaking business, I had no money, no talent. One guy told me what to do, and the next day I called on 10 people, sold the first one, and I was rocking. And in the last 36 years, I've made multiple millions in this business. You know, I respectfully understand some of you are hanging on by your fingernails. I've been there. When I went bankrupt so fast I had to reach up to touch bottom. And for 6 months I was hiding under the covers. But the one thing that turned me around, that'll turn you around, is what I'm going to offer you. I listened to one audio tape 287 times. It gave me what is proverbially called a checkup from the neck up from our friend Zig Ziglar. And it was from the neck up that I need to go up, because I was reading the New York Times, which was all the bad news fit to print. And I went, oh my God, it's not going to work, because they go out of their way to tell you how to pollute your mind. What I'm going to ask you to do is shut off the television, tell your vision to like-minded, buoyant, up friends. I had 4 roommates. I was renting with these guys. Each of us paid $100 a month in Hicksville, Long Island, New York. You can't even make up a story like this. I asked my roommates at breakfast, do any of you know anybody that's not a cotton top with white hair that's not a doctor, not a lawyer, not a celebrity, making money as a speaker, because I knew I wanted to be a professional speaker, writer, author, entrepreneur. And the guy said, yeah, this guy is out in Hauppauge, Long Island, New York. It was 8:30 in the morning. By 9 o'clock, I'm sitting watching what became my greatest friend and mentor, Chip Collins, for the next 3 hours. I said, what do I do? How do I do it? He said, you won't make it. 1 in 1,000 make it. Don't let anyone defer you. He told me what to do to actualize my dream. There's somebody out there that can help you exercise your dream, no matter how down you are. But you got to bring yourself up, take a shower, make yourself smell good, look good, feel good, and ask the right question so you get the right answer. How can I do it? How can I realize it now? How do I get in a vibration so I'm in sync with my greater good? And you go out and do it. I give you permission to believe that I believe in you. I think you can tell I want more for you than you want for yourself. I want you to become a success, because the most unselfish thing you can do in the world is become vastly successful. So what I've done is I've put together a whole program that makes it easy, effortless, understandable, and it has you succeed. It is called Rip Roaring Wealth. We go through video, audio, and text that make it effortless ease so your path becomes smooth, beautiful, and perfect. All you got to do is get the right input, and you'll have the right output. I've got the right input. It is a little investment that you're going to make that's going to give you a big return. Remember, it's little hinges that move the big door. I define leverage as speed. You can't afford not to have the way to maximize your entrepreneurship now.